Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the opening monologue for the martial arts of sales. And the topic for today is 4 positions that every small business owner and entrepreneur, and those of you who are looking to start a business, need to not only understand, but know when you're in those positions and how to utilize those positions, because it could determine how fast your business grows, how effectively it grows, and more importantly, how strong it grows. Now, being in business for 30 years and in sales, I've dealt with a lot of different types of businesses, from startup companies to 100, $400 million companies, and at one time, one company I dealt with $1 billion company. But the bottom line is this: when I used to sell corporations and set up LLCs and estate plannings and general partner, it was a blessing because I've learned so much about corporations. I've learned so much about how a business should start and how that's important to building a strong foundation. Whether you should be an S corp, an LLC, a partnership, a sole proprietor, etc. These are all infrastructure on how you could start your business. But when you start your business, or you're a small business owner or entrepreneur, these are positions that are very important. And some of you may be weak in some areas of them, and some of you may not. For me, I made it an effort to be strong at all 4 of them. Okay? Some of you may be good at 2 of them. Some of you may be good at 1 of them. Some of you may be good at all 4 of them. But here's the bottom line: is these 4 positions are absolutely critical to any business owner, anyone. And if you even look at the big conglomerates, they still emphasize these 4 positions. Now, we're going to talk about being the visionary and the dreamer of your business, why that's important, how do you deal with it, and how that position really works. Then you transition to the thinking position, how you think about things, how do you take that vision, you start to think and put a plan together, putting a blueprint together. Then you transition from the thinker to the salesperson, where most people fail, because most entrepreneurs, small business owners, think and believe that they're not salespeople because they hate selling. Well, I'm here to tell you, to give you a wake-up call. You better be a good salesman in your company, because we're all salespeople. And I'm going to explain to you that if you're not a salesperson in your company, why you will be at the mercy of other salespeople. The number 4 is the CEO. Now, what I've learned over the years too, a lot of people get caught up into titles. I'm the president, I'm the CEO, the chairman, etc. That's all well and good. But you know what? It's not about the position or the title. It's about the execution, the responsibility, how you deal with that title. So when someone says, I'm the boss or I'm the leader, you don't need to say that. If you are, people will know it. You don't have to bring it up. So being a CEO is a very important position to understand. And if you are a CEO, the buck stops and starts with you. So that's going to be the 4 steps and the 4 positions we're going to talk about in the topic. But before we get into the topic and get to meat on the bone, do 2 things. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscription button below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and also share this video with others. Now, for the introduction. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm excited about this topic. I believe out of all the topics I've spoken about, I think this is one of the most important topics. And the reason why I say that is because this topic applies to all of you small business owners, entrepreneurs, and those of you who are about to start a business. Now, the 4 positions of every small business owner, entrepreneur, are vital. You have to understand all 4. As you listen to the opening monologue, these positions transition from one to the other in those steps, from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And you have to understand what position you're in. You have to understand, when that position comes up and how you have to switch hats. There's a saying is that, excuse me for 1 second, my phone fell. There's a position is, when you start a business, you're the janitor, you're the window washer, you do all of that. That is true. These 4 positions are very important. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you a little story before we dig into the topic. When I was doing corporations, selling corporations, estate planning, infrastructure, general partnership, limited partnerships, estate planning, I did all that. I did that for about 3 years. And it opened me up to a lot of different types of businesses. I loved it. I did seminars on it. And it was an exciting selling product I've ever sold, because it makes a difference how you set up a business, from tax purposes to legal purposes. You get to learn laws of all 50 states. It was just an incredible. I've been able to help a lot of clients out. I set up thousands of corporations over the years. So the number one thing, and you may want to write this down, the number one thing is what I call the visionary and the dreamer. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the visionary and dreamer. I'm a visionary. I'm a storyteller. I see things, right, that most people will not see. And I'll give you an example. About 2 years ago, when I got into social media, I said, I don't want to be like everyone else. I did some research on it. I did a study on it. And what I found out was atrocious, that at that time, only about 2 to 3% of people on social media were actually making money. And I asked myself, why is that? Is that right? Can that be? Well, the thing is, everyone wants to be popular and no one wants to do the grunt work, because everybody wants everything fast. You got a lot of different applications, a lot of different funnels and platforms, automated system to generate your leads, et cetera, et cetera. I get all that, advertising. I understand all that. But I had a vision. I said, if I could find a solution that everyone needs, or majority of the people online need, then I have something. And if I could find it and create it and implement it, I'm going to be successful. And so I did. I started a strategy called social media conversion strategy. I called it social media investment strategy. After a while, I decided, after applying it, speaking with other people, I decided conversion, because everyone wants to convert leads into sales. So I named it social media conversion strategy. I got a lot of objections, a lot of rejection, a lot of resistance, because they said, well, this is the internet. Nobody likes to cold call, because part of it is cold calling. And those of you who follow me know me, I speak a lot about cold calling. But I had a vision. I was dreaming about it. But no one could see it right away. Or even if they see it, they rejected it. Because when you're a visionary, number one, it's an emotional position. Number two, it's a lonely position. And more importantly, no one sees what you see but you, most of the time. It's like having faith. You're going to be an NBA or professional athlete when you start. So many people say then try. It's hard for people to see that, other than you, right? But you have to be able to see that. You got to have a vision how your business is going to start, how you expect it to grow, and what parts are you going to need in that vision, in that business, right? So that's the visionary. It's a lonely position. It's an emotional position, but it's where it all starts. Does that make sense? Now, number two is what I call the thinker. You have to be a thinker. Now, let me explain this position. The thinker now has to take that vision, all that emotion, and put it aside. The emotions he puts on the side. Now he takes that vision, and sometimes with a vision and emotion, you got a lot of things going all over the place. He's got to be able to think how he's going to put this blueprint together, organize it, so that it could be executed. what type of positions he needs, what kind of people he needs to hire, how much capital does he need, how is he going to market it? All these things is what the thinker does. This is the hardest position. Why? Because a lot of people don't like to think. You have to think for at least 5 or 6 other people that you don't even have yet. Think about that. It's a non-emotional position where it should be. You could still be excited, have enthusiasm, but you got to use your mind and you got to be logical in that position. You start to organize your thoughts. You start to organize the process. You start to organize everything you need. Because what happens when you got a blueprint? It has to be executed, right? So now you build the infrastructure. You build the blueprint on how that vision should be executed. And before it gets executed, you transition to the third position, which is the salesperson. The salesperson. The old dreaded salesman. It's amazing. I spoke to so many business owners. I'm not a salesman. I'm not this. I can't sell. I don't like salespeople. Meanwhile, we all need salespeople to close sales, right? Right? So here's the thing about being a salesperson. If you believe you're not a salesperson, I'm gonna warn you. You're always going to be at the mercy of salespeople. You're going to have to give up a high percent of your products and sales to the salesperson, which means you might have to raise the price out just so that you could afford to keep the salesman happy. If you got bad salespeople, and I've seen this in Las Vegas, you have people with bad habits, doing the wrong thing. Well, incredible closers, I don't think they were salespeople, they were more closers. I won't get into why they were closing, but the point is, the call center and the people that hired them, knowing the way these people were, they were at the mercy. They didn't care. They go, well, I need sales. So they deal with it. They dealt with it. I didn't. When I was running my call center, I didn't accept any of that. Why? Because I didn't need salespeople. I could sell myself. I'm better than any of those salespeople that I would hire. So I wasn't at their mercy. When I did hire them, it's because I wanted to share my experiences, my knowledge to me, help other salespeople become better salespeople. That's the reason why I did what I did. But I was never at their mercy. Never. Because I understood my position. And when you're a salesperson, once you have the blueprint, now you go out there, and it's a really tough position to be in the beginning. Here's why. Because you're out there, you're testing the product or services. Like I tried my social media strategy, right? Investment strategy. I was calling people online, whether it was the Better Business Bureau, whether it was my follower. I was getting a lot of resistance because they never heard of anything like that. Social media investment strategy, now it's called conversion strategy. Cold calling on social media, are you crazy? That's what they said. They said, that's not possible. Cold calling is dead. I said, no, it's not. My strategy works. So what happened was, as I spoke with more people, if you're a good salesman and you're not emotional about it and you could take constructive criticism, they will teach you, without costing you any money, how to fix the problems you may have. They're going to show you how to sell them even though they didn't buy from you yet. But you're going to be able to see if you have a viable product or services at that point. So you're pre-selling. Here's the other thing that does happen. A lot of those clients wind up, or those prospects or those people you spoke with, majority of them, or a lot of them, wind up becoming your clients. Because when you go back to them when it's fully tight and you understand your pitch and you got your presentation, they're going to appreciate the difference. The conviction you have from when you first spoke to them, when you were basically trying to pre-sell or basically seeing if you had something. Here's the downside. I've seen a lot of salespeople in that position that couldn't take rejection because they were all excited about it. They kept the vision. They weren't thinking. They were salesmen and they were still emotional and they got rejected. And instead of taking that rejection as an objection, as a way to, what could you fix? They took it the wrong way and they got devastated. I love that opportunity because I get free help. I make them now part of my growth. I make them now part of the product and services before they even buy it. Does that make sense? Now, when you're the salesperson, you got everything going, you got your script, you got the product down, you understand and you're ready to go to market. Now you transition to the business owner, or what I call the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. This is a very important position. A lot of people like to call themselves CEO because they like the title. I know a lot of clients, I tell them flat out, I say, you're not a CEO, you're an operations guy. You don't have what it takes to be a CEO, you're just not. So the CEO is a Chief Executive Officer, so I want you to write that down. And basically, the CEO, I call it a general contractor. Why? Because they start to execute the plan. They get the team together. In order to get the team together, the right people, and you want to outdo your competitor and you're in your business, how do you get an experienced person that has maybe, let's say, 20 years experience and you need that position filled, but you don't have the budget to pay them, but you have the product and services that they can make a killing? You have to sell them that why should they come into your team, your company, versus another company that has what they call deep pockets? Don't you have to sell them and persuade them and convince them? Yeah. See my point? So they're the general contractor. They have to understand negotiation. They have to understand law, corporate structures, taxes, contracts. Does that make sense? That's what the CEO does. They have to understand how to not only execute the blueprint, but get the results. Remember, the buck stops and starts with the CEO. They're result oriented. They look at cause and effects. They have to make sure that, they got emotional about the vision, but as time went on, they realized, I got to get rid of that, even though they were so emotional about it. That's what a CEO does. So it's not just having a title, of a CEO or being the president or being both positions. It's about understanding that position and executing that position. Because with that position comes a lot of responsibility. Whether someone makes a mistake in your company or not, whether it's your fault or not, the buck stops with you, and it also starts with you. If your salesmen are not producing, or they're not being trained right, or you're at their mercy, that's the CEO's position. Obviously, they delegate president, vice president, everything. But at the end, it starts and ends with you. But before you can fill those positions that you may need to execute the plan, you have to know how to negotiate. You have to know how to persuade. You have to know how to sell. You have to be able to sell the vision of the company and why they need to be part of it and what's the benefit of them. One of the things that I do as a CEO, I'm always selling as a CEO, is I tell everybody, take ownership of your position. Make you irreplaceable, that I have to keep you. Make me want you more all the time. Make yourself valuable. You see what I'm saying? So when you're a CEO, you have, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think you have to be the best salesman in your company, if not at least one of the top salesmen in your company. Because that way you're never at the mercy and you can hire the right salespeople. You don't have to compromise with your ethics and your principles and your values that I've seen a lot of people do because they needed sales. And at the end of the day, you're running a business, you want to get sales, right? Everybody's on social media. Why? Because they want to get leads and get more sales. That's what everybody has in common. That's why we're all on social media. And besides the branding leads to sales, right? So let's not forget that. So let's recap this because it's very important. I think you should write this down. Number one is you have to be a visionary and a dreamer. It's a very lonely position. It's an emotional position, but it's a very vital position. Number two is you have to be a thinker. You have to be able to create the blueprint. You have to be able to see and get your emotions out of the way and just think logically so that you can execute. The third part is once you have that blueprint and you want to try to sell your services or your product, you become the salesman. Don't be afraid to want to be a salesman. Salespeople in the sales profession, to me, is the most incredible profession in the world. There's nothing out there like it. Because at the end, we are all salespeople. You just have to admit that you are, accept that you are, embrace it, because true salespeople solve problems. That's what we do, or that's what we should do. Without salespeople, there's no sales. There's no buying and there's no selling, right? Just think about that. Very simple. And number 4 is the CEO, the general contractor, the one that executes the plan, the one that negotiates, that understands contracts, that motivates his people. Those are the 4 positions. Ask yourself this question: which one of these 4s am I lacking in, that I need help in? And then do something about it. And if you're able to do that, and the number one thing most of you are probably going to come up with is that you're not a good salesperson. Become a good salesperson. And watch how your business grows exponentially. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I want to thank you all for being part of the martial arts of sales. Again, if you like this video, hit the like button. It does help the algorithm. Please subscribe to my channel and be part of the martial arts of sales family. And also share the video with others if you believe, there's people out there that could really benefit from it. Till we speak again, I say goodbye for now. This is Paul Cruz with the martial arts of sales. I wish all of you much success. Bye for now.